Woo! All right. What is up, you beautiful fucking people? Welcome back to another episode of Unaligned and Unfiltered. I'm your host, Jack, or the Twisted Wanderer, and today I am joined by fellow Fusioneer Meg, or Gen X Final Fusion on Instagram. Welcome, Meg. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Jack. It's an honor to be on your podcast. I've been looking forward to this conversation ever since you emailed me.
Me too. I'm excited to finally be sitting down. So, Meg, I always like to start off with our scoliosis journey, diagnosis, all that stuff. So would you mind just taking us on your scoliosis journey?
Okay, well, my journey it starts almost 50 years ago in the year of our Lord, 1977. I don't know just to put it in some historical perspective and how much the world has changed. Disco was the biggest music at the time. Ooh. And a Democratic president of impeccable character sat in the White House. So it was the 70s. It was the late 70s, the disco age. So I had this intuition on the day that I missed school today's not a good day to miss school, but there was no context to it or anything. So later on, I found out that my entire sixth grade class had been screened for scoliosis while I, ironically, was at a doctor's appointment. I did not get screened, and the school nurse or whoever was responsible for it, I guess they just missed one or whatever. And, I did a little bit of research, and it's in the Florida statutes that sixth graders have to be screened for scoliosis. So it is Florida law, and their parents have to be notified of it. So hopefully that law came after, I missed my screening. So anyhow, I've always loved cats, and we had stray cats running around, and I'm always picking up my cats and loving on them, kissing on them, whatever. And so later on, I felt this lump under my arm. I must have been probably in the 7th grade. And in the process of getting this lump diagnosed, they gave me an x-ray and found that I had scoliosis. The lump turned out to be cat scratch fever. And it appeared as mysteriously as it had appeared after the diagnosis. So that is how a cat had to help me get diagnosed.
They are magical creatures. They definitely help with lots of stuff.
Yes, they do. So anyway, I was living in a small town in North Florida, not Tallahassee, but an even smaller town. And by the time I finally made it to an orthopedic surgeon in Atlanta, he told my parents that I still remember being in the room and seeing my x-ray. And I remember hearing the words, she'll be in a wheelchair by the time she's 30.
What?
Yeah. If they didn't do anything about it.
Need to beat up these doctors. Go into the past with a time machine. Yeah. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, right. So my dad was a doctor. My dad was an osteopathic.
Oh, sorry, Dad.
No,
he was? Okay. He was a what?
He was an osteopathic physician.
Wow.
And I remember him asking the surgeon, what are the long-term effects of this surgery? And he says, well, she might have some arthritis one day, but let's just get your daughter fixed up, Dr. Cavendish. Let's just go ahead and do the surgery. So at the point where my Scoli was discovered, it was on the cusp. I think it was at 45 degrees. And the surgeon said that he didn't think there was going to be much benefit to me wearing a brace at this stage. And it was better just to go ahead and go with the surgery. So that's and you know what? He was probably right about that. I mean, I would have had to wear a brace, and then I would have had to do the surgery, and so they just decided to do the surgery.
And then you do have I know everyone's different, so everyone take this with a grain of salt, but it's it could, people who have done the brace and it didn't do it, and they still needed their surgery.
And they still needed
surgery.
At
45.
All that brace.
I was around there when I had
they went through all the brace wearing for only to my nose. So anyway, yeah. So and then of course it wasn't like I was going to be flown to Germany to go to the Schroth method.
Yeah, right.
I didn't have anything but surgery at the time. So I had the surgery. It was done with the Harrington rod instrumentation, which is just one rod.
One rod, right?
One rod.
I was looking
at my X-ray on my.
Yeah, I was looking at it.
Yeah. So one rod, and it had a hook on either end, and then they took some bone from my pelvis and pulverized it and made a paste of it,
Wow.
So about a few days after the surgery, my dad was still there, and I felt something pop inside me. And I told my dad about it, but nothing got done about it. Nobody looked at it, whatever. And so when it came time for me to walk, I was in a lot of pain. And I kind of remember like getting a little bit of tood from one of the PTs, like, oh, come on, you can do it. They were making me walk with so anyway, right before I was going to be released, they did another x-ray, and that pop I felt was the top hook coming out. So they were making me walk with the hook undone.
You can fucking curse. You're good.
Okay. So, hook undone, So anyway, so I had to go back into surgery, and they reattached the hook. Then
amazing. Like, it's just wild that I know we get there eventually to like be our biggest advocate and like learn things, but it's wild that it just starts right from the beginning of like no one listening to you.
No one listening to me now. Believe me, that was the first time, but people, I advocate for myself, and people listen to me now. They have to. So yeah. Anyway, so then came the body cast. So I had to wear this, and I have pictures of myself.
Read about this.
In front of my kiss wall. So at first I had this body cast that went over my shoulders.
Okay.
And they had a little bit of, they had a cavity cut out so that I could breathe, and for my little boobs I didn't have boobs at the time.
I'm gonna wonder. I'm like, what? Okay. So it's like
up out in my cast. Yeah. And I had to wear it. You know what the summers are like in Florida. So I had my surgery in February, but I had to wear this horrible cast all through the summer, and the only way I could bathe was to sit in a tub of shallow water. And, I had to scratch myself, and I would use like a clothesline.
Like those long.
A coat hanger, I could have, anyway, it was awful. I didn't want people to get around me because I didn't like the way that I smelled, having not been able to
bathe. Yeah.
Fast, and I had to wear these big clothes, and it sucked.
A lot to go through. Yeah.
What made it suck even more is that, so over the summer between my diagnosis and my surgery, we had moved to the capital of Florida, and I had to start 8th grade with as a stranger, and I didn't have any friends. So, and I eventually made
8th grade too.
In fact, I'm about to see 2 of the people that I went to 8th grade with after we do this podcast. So I just want everybody to know, I have asked them about this, and the 8th graders, if there's anybody out there who's a child watching this, I polled my friends, and they said they remember me coming back in a body cast, but they weren't scrutinizing me and going, oh, they're too worried about themselves too, so I have like confirmation that your 8th grade classmates are not thinking about you nearly as much as you think they are. But anyway, it was very isolating.
Yeah.
It was very isolating. Yeah.
Very isolating too.
Yeah.
It's like a different type of isolation on top of the isolation that already exists with scoliosis.
So I had to wear it. So eventually, I want to say like after 6 months, they cut my I got a new cast, and came under my shoulders. It still had the hole in it. And then the cast came off when I was in the 9th grade. And then, okay, you're normal, right? We're supposed to be normal.
Yes, we're normal.
Yeah. So anyway, that is kind of how everything started. And I just kind of got on. I'm trying to think about if there's anything. So one thing that I would do, I remember being really tired when I would come home from 9th grade and 8th grade. And as a matter of fact, I remember like when I first came back to the 8th grade, I was sitting in like the cafeteria or something. There was this boy sitting beside me and talking to people or something. And I looked down, and he had his hand on my right thigh, but I couldn't feel it because the cast was cutting off my circulation. So when I think about like how much pressure I was like the pressure of that cast, a 90-degree angle when you're in school, sitting on a bench, sitting on a wooden bench, a school desk or whatever.
Nemesis.
Yeah.
I hate those damn things.
So I would come home from school, and I had so Journey was like my off ramp from Kiss, and Journey came out with an album in 1979 called Evolution. And I would come home from school. Hopefully somebody had, shared some with me. And that was like the tool that I didn't realize. I thought I was doing something bad, but that was kind of what I needed back then. That was the kind of pain relief I had. And I wasn't in so much as I was in discomfort, but I would come home and listen to that Journey album, and then I have to roll off the bed and go change it on the, and just disassociate. And it wasn't until I started attending Salamkaya and Twisted Outreach support groups once a month and started talking to other people, that I remembered that song, the song that I especially liked, that was very like trippy and like, oh yeah, I did like that, so I kind of revisit that song every once in a while. But anyway, I got through rest of high school. And when I was a junior in high school, a friend of mine recruited me to join her gym. So I started going to a gym, and this is before personal trainers were really a thing. And the gym owner just showed me what to do and gave me a little card and wrote down these like very basic like weightlifting exercises. And I remember saying, okay, well, I do have a rod in my spine, but there was nobody to advise me on which were best to do. I just kind of had to figure it out as I went along. So getting into, I'm not that into it now, but at first I was really, really into bodybuilding and loved it. And I wasn't a sports girl, so this gave me like something physical that I enjoyed. And then my mom would pop out, So I did that. So after I graduated from FSU, I have a degree in political communications, and I moved to Washington, D.C., and I worked in association management for a travel and tourism aid association, like that.
If you had travel experience.
Yeah.
You travel a lot. I was looking at all the places you've been.
I do now. Yeah. But it was only because like that was the only contact I had when I moved to Washington. And I had done an internship in Tallahassee with the Hotel and Motel Association. So anyway, my first job was working for a lobbyist as just an assistant. But then later on, I got hired to write some public relations type stuff for National Tourism Week and promoting travel and tourism. So that's what I did. But about 6 years in Washington, I'm like, I don't really, unless I'm going to work for the government or on Capitol Hill, I don't really need to be here, and it was during the Clinton administration. So one day I just decided that I was going to move out west, and I had started getting massage too. So still working out. Then I had added massage in, and I realized now that I'm thinking back, it was the first time I got a significant raise. The first damn thing I did was start getting a massage every month. Immediately I spent it on my body, which started a pattern that has continued henceforth. So I went out and did a few visits out west and decided that I was going to move to Denver, Colorado. And I moved to Denver, Colorado all by myself.
Yeah.
Without kind of like how you did moving.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm like, I love this.
Yeah. And then I chased my dream job in adventure travel. I eventually caught it, but sometimes when we catch our dream jobs, it turns out to be a nightmare. And that's what this was. And it started out really great. I'm hiking around in Boulder doing a PSA and then it just turned into like a nightmare. So it realized that what I liked about public relations was just the writing and planning. And I don't really like to deal with the actual writer. Like I'd rather just be a travel writer than deal with travel writing. Yeah. So I had to move. So I had to find something else to do with myself. And in the meantime, I had driven down to Tucson to visit one of my friends who had moved back there, used to live in DC. And I fell in love with Tucson. I realized that I didn't go far enough west. So I got fired from my dream job. They decided that I was going to be, after they went through my Rolodex and got all my international press contacts that I had brought. Anyway, got fired.
So they just took all your contacts?
Yeah, they went. So when I was in the Bahamas, this person was going through my it was a Rolodex back then. Just get it. And I had gotten this from some associates in DC. Anyway, it didn't work. Let's just say it didn't work out. So I'm like, well, okay. But I fell in love with Tucson. So I moved to Tucson, still no job, but I went back to school. And then I just want you to know that grief can really knock us on our butts. So
yes, it can.
I was like, woo, I'm going to, and I'd been there 2 or 3 weeks. I got this phone call from my friend. Are you leaving don't leave the house. I have something to tell you. I'm like, is it bad? Because yeah, it's bad. So in the time I was waiting for my friend to get to my house, another friend called me, and it was about my ex-boyfriend who had died in a fire. And so by the time my friend got to me, I was curled up in a fetal position, sobbing because we were exes, but there's still a possibility that he was going to come out to Denver with me, just kind of to out west, Anyway, that really knocked me on my ass.
Yeah, that's it just
takes the wind. It takes the wind out of it. these sudden deaths take the wind out of your
They
sails.
do.
And that's not the first time it's happened. I lost my best friend to a gunshot at a party in 1984, and then my dad died suddenly. But anyway,
Meg, that's a
I've
lot
had
of grief to carry.
I've had a lot of grief, yeah, and it takes the wind out of your sails
It does.
for a long time, and it makes getting back on your feet a lot harder.
That is
But
absurd.
I went back so I started taking pre-med class. My idea was to be a naturopathic physician, or take pre-med classes,
Okay.
which is like holistic
side of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like I said, my dad was an osteopath and my great-grandmother was an herbalist on different sides of the family. So I have that in my background. Yeah, and that's my philosophy about. Now, sometimes I wish I had gone to naturopathic medical school because I could probably help myself even. I would be more of a help to myself if I had that knowledge, probably. But anyway, so I started going back. I took pre-med classes and just went back to school and took anatomy and physiology and chemistry and biology and all that stuff. Eventually, I decided that that massage school would be more of a portable skill for me to have, because naturopathic physicians are not licensed to practice in all the states. So in one timeline, I'm living in a blue state as a naturopathic physician, but that didn't work out in this timeline. So I wound up going to what actually is considered one of the best massage schools in the country, which at the time was the Desert Institute of Healing Arts. And it was a 9-month program. It was 1,000 hours. And I went to massage school, and it is probably one of the best years that I've ever had in my life. I learned so much. And then when I started talking to people in the community, we got a whole day on scoliosis of training. So that's when we learned about
in massage school.
Yeah, in massage school, we spent an entire day learning.
Nice that they do that. I didn't know that they did.
And I got my x-ray. Now, at the time, you didn't just have x-rays on your phone. I had to go to my doctor and request an x-ray and get x-rays to show the class. But anyway, then I'm like, convex, concave. I remember that. I remember those terms from.
Those terms.
Yeah. So anyway, at the time, Tucson is like a mecca for alternative and complementary and holistic healing of all types. So I tried out different things. One of the best things that I ever did for myself is rolfing. So I got rolfed in Tucson. And rolfing is structural integration, and it works on your fascia. It's different from release. But rolfing is like a 10-step protocol that works from your superficial to deep fascia to reorganize.
And it's ROLF.
It's named after its founder, Ida Rolf.
Okay.
So then the Rolfer had me, and I'm not the best person I could explain it if I would go back and read some more, read and re-educate myself about it. I did buy her book on it, but it reorganizes your fascia in gravity, and their whole goal is to help you get more.
Because the fascia is the thing that it's all over, right? And it's if it's twisted, it pulls, right?
Right. So they actually had a rolfer come and lecture us on it, but I had already started rolfing. And so my theory was, okay, so I already know that my body's asymmetrical, and I got, and my fascia is fluid, but it's being held by my asymmetrical, but skeletal structure. So what would happen if I tried rolfing? And I really felt like I had been let out of a cage in a way. It was really painful. It's really deep work. It's not feel-good work at all, and it hurts to get it done. But afterwards, felt really good.
Better. Okay.
Yeah. So I did that. I tried different things. Craniosacral therapy was something that I wish I had continued on.
That
craniosacral therapy is manipulating the flow of your cerebrospinal fluid that flows through the ventricles of your brain all the way down your spinal cord. And so one of the things that I first learned in anatomy was that you have all these sutures in your cranial bones, and the person who discovered craniosacral therapy was an osteopath like my dad. And his theory was that these bones could be moved slightly. And I remember I was just listening to your talk with Claudia about how she said scoliosis goes from your feet to your cranial bones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm on asking I have one massage therapist who's a cranial sacral therapist, and then just cranial sacral. Can you feel the scoliosis in my cranial bones? Yes. So anyway, but it's also it's very gentle. And what I have, now that I've been doing it steadily for a year, what I have found is that it drops my overall tension levels down a notch to the point where I don't even need to get a massage as often, like when I'm doing craniosacral therapy.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I can see an opportunity for myself to contribute online with some of the little this stuff,
Definitely. You have a lot of knowledge on a lot of like holistic sides of stuff. Like it's cool. It's definitely, we need more of a whole,
So yeah, we do. So anyway, so I'm in massage school, whole day on massage, trying out different things. And then I also, when I graduated, I went to work for a clinic, and I actually worked on people with scoliosis. So that was, of course, my favorite thing to do, is work on people with scoliosis, and they would come to me. Unfortunately for me, so after I went through my Rolfing series, I developed a taste for deep tissue massage. And so then, like, you tend to work on people the way you want to be worked on. So I was like, just like, it was hard on my body. So massage is hard on my body. One thing I did want to say is that, so during our second trimester, we learned trigger point therapy, and everybody was in tears the whole, like, it just released so much emotions, So when you start doing this kind of stuff, it's going to release emotions, which are good. We need to.
Which are good. I need to. I think that would help me.
Stuff our body, like I was going to say, like, it's just so traumatic. Like, the surgery must be so traumatic for our bodies to absorb all this. Like, where does the pain go?
I know.
Our minds are put to sleep, but have you ever seen the show Vikings?
I've seen that. No.
Okay. Well, I'm a big Game of Thrones fan. Okay, and
I did see that. I really enjoyed all your parties as I was like researching. I was like, what? Because I was so late to GOT. It was so cool.
But anyway, they do something that Game of Thrones doesn't even do, called blood eagling, where they're like, they're gonna give him a spinal fusion. Like, they cut your ribs away from your spine, your rib cage away from your spine, and open up. Anyway, I'm like, oh my God, we were basically like, we were bloody.
Really we were. It's really, it fucks me up to think about it sometimes. Like, just trigger warning forever. But like the mere fact of just like your back being just gonna go in here, like, what? It really fucks me up. I still haven't seen the surgery.
So I was gonna say, like, so Martha Carter from Twisted Outreach, she also has gotten me into somatic therapy or somatic movement.
Claudia helped me with that.
And I think
all I'm doing these days.
That's going to help us release some of this, I think. Anyways, okay, I know we're getting short. Okay, I'm going to continue now. So went to massage school, was doing that, also playing in a band.
What did you?
Schlepping my own equipment, schlepping my speakers, all that stuff.
You sing and you play. What do you? Tell me.
I sing and I play I don't play very well, but I play the guitar and the mandolin, and I just picked up the dulcimer because I'm from West Virginia, so a West Virginian girl's got to have an Appalachian dulcimer.
Dulcimer? I don't even know what that is.
It sits on your lap.
Okay. I think okay.
But anyway, so September 11th happened. I decided to move back to Florida to be around my family. And I eventually was about done with being a massage therapist. The average career path for a massage therapist is around 7-8 years. And I was right at my 7 or 8 years. And it was really hard on my body. At this point in time, I started having issues with my sacroiliac joint when I was doing massage. And when I quit massage, I felt 10 years younger. It just kind of went away. But then I started a desk job. So I got a job with health insurance and a steady paycheck, And that is when, so 15 years later, I could barely get up out of my chair. Like, it just, like, I couldn't even stand up straight because and I knew this, but when you spend that much time sitting, so as muscles get tight and, anyway, and we got 2 15-minute walk breaks. Now, but it still wasn't enough movement. Like, our bodies need to be in constant motion, I think. So sitting at a desk was not good for me. So that's when I started having pain. And in 2015, I I had I've always like been kind of playing around with tennis balls and self massage this and that. And I had a spot in my actually where my convexity is in my lumbar vertebrae that has always been the most painful. And in the process of doing that, I hurt myself with using a tennis ball. So that is the first time, and I had this muscle spasm that wouldn't let go for days until I got into the swimming pool. So that's the first time I said, gee, now that we have this whole internet thing, maybe there's someone else out there who might have some tips for me. And then when I started looking so my first thing was going to Facebook, and I didn't realize that so many people my age had that worse outcomes than I had. So, apparently
with the Harrington rods?
Harrington rods, yes. So it was kind of traumatic for me to read about all the stuff. And I'm really glad that people posted their stuff, because I didn't know that it could, like, there's something called flat back syndrome.
Heard of it. Yeah, what is that?
Well, so when the Harrington rod, now this is just my theory, but hopefully since my dad was an osteopath, he might have said, well, what about her lordosis? What are we going to do about that? So if you look at my x-ray, I have like a slight bend in my in my sagittal view of the x-rays. I have a slight bend, which to me is acknowledging that I had to have some kyphosis, because you're curved.
You're going forward. Yeah.
And so anyway, my fusion is from T2 to L2, and I think I have enough. It stops to give me enough to give me some lordosis. So I do have, so anyway, but people eventually can't stand up straight, and then they have to go and have revision surgery where they just fuse the rest of your lumbar spine altogether. So that's what I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah.
And now I do have some degenerative disc issues. I do have I'd have to get out my MRI and look at it. But I do have issues. But has it kept me from solo traveling? No. So
you've been so many places.
So that is where we come to 20. So I eventually just resigned from my job when I was 55 years old. And my husband's like, look, if you're this miserable, and it was really like jangling I got put in this office. It was really noisy all the time. And that's when I realized, this noise is really bothering me. Like, what is that about? Anyway, so my husband let me resign my job, and we managed to scrape by without my income, So I basically kind of retired, but then COVID hit, so I couldn't really do anything. So during 2020, my husband and I just goofed off. I didn't bake sourdough bread or clean up my closets. My husband and I drank wine in the middle of the day and watched Sopranos. So we watched The Wire and The Sopranos and just goofed around. Then in 2021, I'm like, okay, I'm still not going back to I'm one of these people who I'm going to be a hermit. I'm not going to get this stuff,
Yeah.
And I never got COVID. Anyway, so in 2021, it's like, okay, Meg, you got to start doing something. You got to get back. You got to figure out your own exercise program and just start doing it. And you know what to do because you've been doing this your whole life. So I had free weights at home and bands and stuff like that. But I was also following people on Instagram. Then I had migrated over to Instagram. And then I started seeing, there's a Pilates Emily Kite Hale from Curva. She's like, well, a few spinous. Now I had tried Pilates and at my job, and it was Pilates for symmetrical people, and they did the roll down, and I got hurt, and I'm like, I guess Pilates is not for me. So I started looking at all these other people with fused spine, Eva Butterly and all these people, and I'm like, why don't you just do what they're doing? And then it went from why don't you start working with these people? So I kind of OD'd on trying to do it all. So I signed up with Strength and Spine. I started doing spinal fusion yoga with Salman Kaya and Jen Gorman. I did Pilates,
Yeah.
And then I discovered reformer Pilates. And so that is where I love reformer Pilates. What I love about it is how strong my feet are, because they do stuff in Pilates that you don't do in the gym, like work your.
Very interesting. I haven't tried it yet, but
I really like it. And then I found a teacher. I kind of explained to her what my situation is, and they have a couple other people with spinal fusions there. So once I explain it to her, I just kind of modify it. There's a couple moves that I don't do. And then I studied with both Allie and Jen when I started doing the reformer to help me modify some of these poses that I knew that I couldn't do. What am I leaving out? Oh yeah, Martha's somatics. I started experimenting with that. And then I didn't know about Schroth therapy or the Schroth method until Instagram, but there's somebody 10 minutes down the street from me. So I'm so lucky to have her. She's like my only person I can talk to in this town and bounce things off of, so yeah. So anyway, so that's kind of, so I was lurking on social media and I thought, and then over time, about 30 people had started following that I was following, had started following back. So one day I went through my account and I deleted all of the people following me who weren't scoliosis. And I, started following other people. And then, so I had been thinking about creating a, like a profile or whatever, or some kind of online persona, but I'm like, what do I have to offer? Because I'm not a yoga teacher. I'm not a Pilates teacher. I'm not a personal trainer. I'm not a therapist. And but I've been living with this thing for
you have a lived-in experience. That's it.
Surely there's something I have to say. So I started. So then one day, Meredith, bionic ballerina, did a post about how much money she spends on her, maintenance, and I'm like, okay, I do this too, like this. What Meredith's in her kitchen is, she's got one of those little folding stools and a mat. I have that too.
Yep, I have that too.
And one of the things that I love in the, meeting other people in this community is when I see that like have both independently come to the same conclusion.
Yeah,
that we need folding stools, that we need a mat. Oh, and I love my my kitchen mats.
I need to get a kitchen mat.
Yeah. And then one of the things that really caused me pain that I realize now was we had a flood and we had to redo our kitchen, and I didn't get new flooring. I just slapped some sheet metal down over the sheet metal. Listen to me, sheet metal, because I'm metal focused. Some sheet flooring, vinyl sheet flooring down over the concrete, and that was killing me.
Yeah, that must be painful on the back.
Yeah, and so I'm like, look, I have got to spend the money and put some cork floors down here or something. So that's definitely something people should think about for their older years. Is what are you standing on every day?
Yeah.
What are you sitting on? What are you standing on? That kind of thing.
I'm even thinking about like houses. I'm like, I don't want like. Kind of just like, I think in my head, I'm like, I want all the things that like are accessible as you age. Like the dishwasher's not it. I need a different type of fridge. Like
apparently, yes, we need a different type of refrigerator. So I'll be getting one of those.
Yes.
But anyway, so that's when I decided to create my Gen X Spinal Fusion account, and I do have a Substack with one post on it, but I plan on writing because I need to write some of this down just to get it out.
I feel that. Yes.
Yeah.
So you have a lot. You've had a very long journey. You've had, there's grief in there. There's that isolation. You've done and endured and done so much. And I think it's really amazing now that you're sharing all that, because you definitely have so much to offer. Just your perspective and the way that you say things and you talk about scoliosis and what you've been through. It's really, really uniquely you, and it's helpful to so many. Like I know just myself, like just researching about you, I'm like, wow, Megan's just so much knowledge about what can help us move through this body.
So when I started, following people and interacting with other, Martha, Jen Gorman, Emily, Beth, all these people, and hearing convex, concave, and then hearing sacrum, piriform, I'm like, it kind of like awakened my passion that I once had for anatomy and physiology and just all the stuff that I've been talking about that I did in Tucson. That had kind of been put down and put back. So it kind of awakened all that in me. So anyway, so that's kind of where I'm at now. And I'm just trying to figure out stuff to post and to write. And I want to start writing about this stuff because I could be gone any day at this point. I already have. So one of the things that I told people at Bionicon, which I know you want to talk about for a few minutes, is, so when you start out, you're a young person. If most of us are diagnosed when we're young. So you're very alone, nobody else has any kind of medical conditions. Well, your friends will catch up with you and sometimes surpass you. I just went to a funeral 2 weeks ago for a friend of mine, who had a very aggressive cancer, and then another friend, and it just happens. I'm trying to make this. I'm 61, so I'm the same age my dad was when he died. So I'm just going to blow out 61. I'm going to do whatever the hell I want to do. And
I agree with that.
Environment after when I turn 62. I'll worry about my future when I turn 62. But I'm kind of at almost, I got another, 20 years?
Yes, we'll take them. 30 years.
And I'm hoping I can make it. That's my goal. So another one of my whys was that I don't want I don't really have a lot of pain. My PCP I finally got an MRI a couple of years ago, but I don't take pills unless I have to. I still have the same I have pills in a bottle I've had since 2021. I'm sure they're expired for pain that I don't have to take. I have muscle relaxers. I've been offered schmabablinton. I don't know if I can mention it, so I just
yeah, you're good.
And I'm like, why do I want to take something that's going to make me dizzy when I'm telling you that I'm in the kitchen and I can't stand up in my kitchen.
Yeah, like I'm trying to be physically active.
So I have a knife in my hand and I'm so dizzy I'm not supposed to drive a car. And then they gave me some arthritis medication. Like, well, you can't take it forever. I'm like, why not? Well, because it will destroy your stomach lining or whatever. I'm like, so what do I have? Oh, and I forgot to mention another one of my favorites. So sound baths. Yeah.
Well, I've been wanting to try those. I saw that. How does that affect it? Is it kind of like, I lay down and do somatic and sometimes just listen to chakra, but is that kind of the same?
Yeah. So I actually did a training in singing bowls last year in Tucson, and I haven't taken my test yet.
I want
to read everything, but I'm lucky to have a sound healer here. So I've been doing that, and I actually have a gong, and I'm actually in my sound room.
It looks beautiful.
This is my trip out sound room, yoga room thing.
That is a vibe, Meg. I don't
even have my mallet here, but I don't know if you can hear that.
I did. That's amazing. Thank you.
And then I've got all this stuff over in the corner. I don't know if you can see all
beautiful.
that.
I can. I love this.
My bowl. And then I have a moon pod that I was going to post about. So when I tell you I have gadgets, I have stuff. I have stuff.
And your journey and my journey, it's so funny. I'm like, you've moved by yourself, you've traveled. Yeah. It's wild what we end up doing with our rods.
Yeah. And it's so far now, I don't know how much time we have left. I do want to say that I do solo travel.
Okay.
And it's painful. I mean, when I'm on my feet a lot, it's painful. I never post that on my I do have a separate travel account. I never talk about how much pain I'm in when I'm taking on,
we need more. We need everything out there talking about scoliosis, however it affects you. Talk about it on your travel and everything.
Yeah. And so I'm trying to get better. I'm going to start making some travel videos of the last trip I took because I'm going on a big 2.5 month trip in August. Well, I'm going to start out in Ireland. And this is a trip that friend of mine I mentioned who just passed away recently. We've been planning this since 2018.
I'm glad you're still going for that.
And then she said, well, let's put it off 1 year because I want to or maybe it was, so we talked about it in 2018. So almost 10 years. 2019, she goes, let's do it in 2020. Okay. Yeah. Okay, fine. Well, we all know what happened in 2020. Yeah. So in 2022, I said, you know what, screw this. I'll go to other places, and figure this stuff out on my own. And then we're going to do it again. But she was in the National Guard and Biden sent her to the border for a year. And then anyway, so I'm taking this trip that we were planning together. So I am starting out in Ireland. I'm starting out in Dublin. I'm going to do all the Dublin stuff. Then I'm going to Belfast to do all the Game of Thrones tourism stuff. And then I'm headed to London. And I've already made plans to rendezvous with Fanny for a couple. I'm excited about meeting her and going. We're going to go to the gym and we're going to eat. And then
Fanny, she's amazing.
So then I'm going to start. So one of my favorite bands is Yes. Now I know that all of my feed is all Chris Cornell all the time. Chris Cornell, Soundgarden, Chris Cornell. Chris Cornell helps me get in touch with my emotions because as a parentified eldest daughter, I was also a parentified eldest daughter. anyway, so Chris Cornell can pull things out of me that nothing else can get out of me. But one of my favorite bands is Yes, and the former lead singer of Yes, John Anderson, is on tour in the UK, and I went to see him last year. And I started going back and listening to Yes. So anyway, the band he is in is called John Anderson, the Band Geeks. And when I went to see them last year, he'll be 82 at the end of this tour. Yeah. And he's out there just kicking ass with these like young guys playing all this like early. If you've never listened to early Yes,
I
highly recommend you start from the very first album. And yeah, then you might want to stop when you get to Tales from Topographic Oceans and let everything kind of germinate. Anyway, so John Anderson is one of my favorite singers with Chris Cornell and Freddie Mercury. And I told my husband last year, I'm like, this is my like priority artist that I'm gonna go to as many shows as I want to, because he really inspired me, because he's up there doing it and he still sounds like he sounded when he was 20 years old.
That's amazing.
But here's the thing I don't know that much about him, but I do know that when he was younger, he was like, yeah, the guys in Yes most of them were like health food guys and vegetarians for a while. And, and he's always been into meditation. So this is a lesson and I looked at him, I'm like, Meg, you're not too old and it's not too late for you to get out there and music again, And then also I got to meet the keyboard player, Chris Clark, and it was such a great show. I went up to him and he came out after the show, I'm like, you guys are so awesome. He goes, are you a musician? And I said,
yes, you are.
I am a musician. Anyway, so I'm gonna go to like 6 shows in the UK, and I'm gonna stop off at Hadrian's Wall, because I've always wanted to see Hadrian's Wall. And I'm gonna stop off in Buxton, which is a spa, like a hot spring spa town in the middle of it, in the Midlands of England, where some of my ancestors might be from. So I'm going to do that. It's my, I didn't get to do it when I was there before. So, and then I'm going to head to Edinburgh and do Outlander stuff. And I know I don't know where, but I know that I've got a lot of Scottish ancestry in me, just by fact that my dad is from West Virginia. So I've got a lot of Scottish ancestry in me. So that'll be really,
that would be so cool.
But one of the things that I'm trying to do now is I've ordered a bunch of merino wool, because I've read that it's the best thing that we can, travel garments, and it's very lightweight. So I'm trying to like really hone in on, minimal packing and
layers
everywhere, and like everywhere I go, I'm going to try to either get in like I either have a place with a bathtub, or I'm going to go to a flotation tank in Edinburgh, and I'm going to and go to the Air Ancient Baths in London, because I've got to get in some water if I'm going to be pounding
pavement. You have to.
My 61-year-old unfused vertebrae on the pavements of these cities. I'm going to have to get in some water. So that's one of the things that I do. And then, so I wanted to also really quick talk about, bone health is something that we should be thinking about much younger. Like for us, we need to always be thinking about our bones, and and then drinking destroys your gut health. So I'm learning gut health was not a thing in the 90s.
Drinking.
Well, I mean,
like me and my drinking
as much.
No, it's terrible.
And I realize that like it's the easiest vehicle to get us out of pain, but it's not the best.
Yep. It's been my go-to since, like, I know you spoke earlier about like Marriage you Want. Like when we were younger, I didn't even realize, but I turned to it. As a kid.
And now I'm trying to figure out like my now that cannabis is legal and I do have a card for it, I'm having to learn how to manage this wonderful resource that was not legal when I was younger. But I think that, it's been more recreational. It goes really good with Yes music. So it's like,
that's still taking care of yourself. I count that.
It is, yeah. But I realize it also makes me really hungry, so I have got to take off some of this. I've been eating too much. So when I saw some pictures of me, and I wanted to talk about Bionicon really briefly.
Yeah, tell me.
Pictures of me at Bionicon, I'm like, okay, Meg, you've got to lay off the gummy. And I just do gummy. I don't do any kind of inhalable stuff. So I got to lay off the gummy. So I'm trying to be more disciplined about that. So
Well,
But
I'm proud of you. I know
yeah,
that's like hard for me too because I love me
yeah.
my
I mean,
gummies.
I just feel so, and I really like the CBD blend too. I like that.
Yes.
I don't
Relax.
really, yeah. And it's just more of a body buzz,
Yes.
So between my working out, Pilates, massage, cranio, somatics, sometimes Schroth method, sound bathing, all the
It's a
stuff,
good toolbox.
I pretty much stay. And then I'm always adding to and aqua stuff too.
Do you have
Aqua
a
thing.
favorite? Right. I know like it may be hard to pick, but do you have a
Yeah.
favorite?
Do I have a favorite? Wow. I don't know. That's hard. That's
I
hard.
was curious. This is one of the questions I wrote down because I was like, she has so many things I feel like that you do for this. So
Yeah, I know. So you
wondering if
mean,
you have a
well,
favorite.
what I couldn't do without is massage.
Okay. I was going to ask. Okay.
Yeah.
Top 3. Give me 2 more. I'm curious.
Workout stuff or
I've
therapy
just,
stuff?
yeah. Any of the stuff in your Scoli toolbox. What's your like top 3?
I have to say, craniosacral therapy is coming in on as an
Okay.
MVP because myofascial stuff isn't something you do or rolfing. That's like a one-time thing. You don't get it all the time.
Okay.
So massage, craniosacral therapy. And I don't know. I don't know. Maybe getting in water because I talked about it so much because it's like instant pain relief.
It is the best.
So there's that, and I think I've like hit on most of the things that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, I'm still out there, doing it for as long as I can, solo traveling for as long as I can.
Good.
And
My
at the
favorite.
point where I'm like the old lady who's holding up the tour group, I don't want to do it because although I do stuff by myself, I go on these tours with other people and I don't want to be the person that holds anybody back. So
No,
I'm
you're not holding anyone back.
I'm about to go on a mad 2-month, as disciplined as I can be, gym every day. I gotta get some more muscle in my legs.
That's
I gotta
my goal
work,
for scoliosis month. I'm like, for Scoli month, I'm gonna try and work out and do my take care of my spine every day. I'm gonna try again for the 100th time.
That I wouldn't be able to do what I do now and be as functional as I am now if I had not done some of the stuff when I was younger.
Yeah,
and I don't have to. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. You've always stayed active. It sounds like no matter what, even if you weren't, having people around you, you knew that you needed to stay active and you had a good solid foundation and then massage tools. So it's awesome that you've been able to care for your spine pretty consistently throughout having your fusion.
I mean, I guess I'm a crunchy girl, and growing up with my dad, my parents were divorced, but I would go stay with him in the summertime, and I'll just read Prevention magazine, and it's just always been in me,
And
I'm
grandma being herbalist,
I never met her. I didn't know anything about her. I just know that she was an herbalist, and she didn't pass that along to any of the daughters that she had. But that's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah. Because, sometimes history hasn't always been good to women with long gray hair who knew how to use herbs and had cats.
Very true.
So I don't want to know anything about them.
This is true.
I'll just stick with the
idea we have in our head.
Yeah, I'll let somebody else. These are not good times to be a herbalist, or maybe, but just these are, yeah. So anyway, I don't know nothing about herbal healing at all. Nothing. So yeah, so that's what I want to say to everybody. Don't freak out about your future because I'm not the best. I mean, I am one example, one possibility, and I just want to put that out there because we don't know what the future. I still don't know what the future holds for me. How long are my vertebrae going to hold up?
How long? What? Sorry.
How long will my unfused vertebrae hold up?
That's something I've been thinking of lately too. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's hard.
It's
very weird. Sorry, I keep cutting you off, Meg. Say what you're going to say.
At the same time, we're both having the same thought. Your unfused vertebrae are the scaffolding that holds up your whole fusion. So
the way you said it like that just made me go, oh, because I know when Dr. Laura Glazebrook, she said it the first time, I was like, what do you mean? It was in 2024 when I was interviewing her, and I never thought about below and above. Never.
Well, I didn't either, but that's something we need to think about.
It is. And for anyone out there who's not moving, get moving. I know I'm the worst person. I do not have a Scoli routine yet, but it's coming. It's coming. It has to come because I'm hoping the somatics will help. I was talking to Caroline Bell about
Mhm.
this as well. It's just,
Mhm.
I think somatics is so helpful because it just, like you said, it releases things. Because I feel like I'm in a constant state of overthinking when I go to move. And then it just becomes like this overwhelming thing, and I'm just like not enjoying myself. That's what's happening every time. So now I'm just focusing on somatics. And have you ever tried, I don't know, do you follow Teresa T3 Fit with her mace?
Yeah, I do. I have a mace here.
Okay,
And
so do I. I was gonna, somatics and the mace right now are like, I think the two that I'm most comfortable with. So I think I
okay.
just need to be like, okay, this is what I can do now. Instead of, we put pressure on ourselves to do more. So I'm like, these are my two. And if I could just be consistent with those,
Yeah.
it would
Well,
still be better than nothing.
if you just really need to make sure that you have a strong core and strong glutes and things like that. That's what helps me. Like if I go to Pilates consistently, I only do it like 2-3 times a week. I have a reformer at
Okay.
my house, so I still go to a class. If I'm consistent in my workout, I roll out of bed with no pain. When I
That's
let other
amazing.
things
Build
put
up.
or let other things take priority over my well-being, that's when I'm in pain. So yeah, and it's easy to do, like to abandon yourself when you're fit, and I'll just skip this or I'll just do that. But if you skip it too much, then you become unfit, and then you start to have pain. So,
Yeah. For a mat, I'm just an unfit little Scoli lady right now.
well, I mean, and you know what? I haven't always done all this stuff. Like before I got on Instagram and I didn't know about Schroth or any of this that I could do stuff with Spinal Fusion. I just went to the gym and I did 30 minutes with the machines mostly, and I have free weights at home. And then I would do aqua aerobics after work, and then would walk on my if I wasn't in too much pain, I would walk, and then if I was in pain, I had an office so I could close the door and just lie down for 15 minutes and just put my knees up, and just like I did when I
It's
was
like my favorite.
in high school and came home and listened to my Journey album.
Yeah.
So I would do that, but now this is so much better because I have more specialized.
Sure.
We have people who are specializing in this that can give us the direction that we need. And what interests me about the mace is like the rotational aspect of it, because nothing else I'm doing really does that.
Yeah. It's almost like, it honestly, it makes me feel so free because I feel like so many times, like, you're always thinking of it, but like the way you get to do it with the mace, it feels like free and like you're not modifying. You're just like relaxing, swinging. I love the mace.
I'm going to have to, maybe that's what I'll try to do for Awareness Month is a mace challenge. And I do feel a little bit like Ari. Do you feel a little bit like Arya Stark when you got the mace? Just like,
Yes. Sorry. Yes, I
me
do.
too.
I just feel
So I
like
feel
a
a little bit
Scully
like,
warrior. I feel like the mace is literally just like, I don't know. It's my favorite thing so far.
and yeah, and you never know hopefully we'll never have to use it.
Yeah, but if you do,
It is a weapon though.
right in the face or
Yeah.
anywhere really. But I love it. It's my fave.
Yeah, well, I'm going to try that. And another thing that
Yeah.
we have now that we didn't is a community of people.
It's the best.
So I absolutely love Bionicon. I'm so glad I went. I'm so glad I went,
I'm so happy for you.
and I came back with like 55 new friends.
It's the best.
You
I
know,
love that. I was sad
yeah.
to miss it, but I'm so happy because I would love to ask you, like, what's your, from everything you've been through, like, how did it feel to be at Bionicon and, like, to be surrounded and to speak on a panel to younger women and people with scoliosis after all you've been through? How did that feel?
Well, I keep going back to this. If you haven't seen it, you'll have to go to YouTube and watch it. But back in the 90s, there was a band called Blind Melon, and they had the song called No Rain. And the video for it is absolutely precious. And it's this little dancing bumblebee girl she's like this very unique dancing bee. And she goes around to just people who don't understand her, don't get her, like, whatever, just go away, leave me alone, whatever. No, she's alone. She's alone. That's the thing. And then all of a sudden she comes to this meadow and she opens this gate, and there are all these other dancing bee girls in the same costume. And she finds her people. And so that's what it was like for me. So Allie emails me like, can you send me the dancing? Because Julianne, the few Somber, she knew about No Rain too. So we were talking about it. Allie was to us. She goes, "Can you send me the link? Because this seems like a vibe, and I want to see what it's about."
Yes, I have to go watch it because
You
I'm literally
should.
getting
I
teary-eyed
mean,
thinking
it's just
about
like, it's so awesome. So I finally feel like I'm with my people, and it was great to talk to younger people
it.
and hopefully give them some hope. That this isn't, my life has not sucked. I mean, I've
No,
pretty much done everything I wanted to do.
no, you sound like you carry your grief with you and you've had a beautiful life and you've endured pain, but you have not let it like stop you from anything. And now you have, I think that's the most beautiful thing is what you're saying. It's just you're coming home to a community and it just feels like a missing piece. And I'm so happy because I'm so happy to know you and this community. And you are definitely, how I say, like, it's just so nice to see someone older with the spinal fusion and like how beautiful your life is. You're beautiful. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's nice to be able to see what could be. We all have different futures, but you have a beautiful life. And I just appreciate you for sharing your story. And I'm so
Thank
happy
you.
we're all met each other.
Me too. And so younger people have also inspired me. Now, I wish Martha is the only person older than me that I know.
That's Twisted Outreach, right?
Yeah, and I wish
Okay.
I had someone older than me, and I don't. So I'm
I
still
know.
going to have to go through this alone.
But who
I'm
knows?
still going to have to figure it out
Maybe
alone.
we'll find someone. Maybe the community will get bigger. Like, who knows where this is going to lead? Or like, if you keep sharing your story, you'll meet someone who may be older than you. We don't know. And
I've met one person who DM'd me on Instagram, and she said that she has the same kind of surgery I have, and she's doing okay. So there are a few of us out there, but
nice.
not very many on Instagram.
Yeah, that's true.
But I've learned as much from the younger people as I have from, like, their advocacy, asking Meredith, asking for the refrigerator.
Yes.
It's kind of influenced me to ask
Same.
for more in my everyday life. Like one time I went in to get something from a restaurant a couple weeks ago, and they were all hard chairs, and there was like one bench, and there was a lady sitting on it. And before I might have just like sat on a chair and like switched from cheek to cheek, like, like
the
doing
little
this,
sway, the butt cheek wiggles.
okay,
Yeah.
like, okay, now I got it. And I just went up and said, "Do you mind if I sit next to you and on the cushion?" And she's like, "Sure."
I love that for you.
And then it turned out, and then I guess I had to explain myself. I'm like, "Well, so you see this fusion." And then she goes, "Yeah, I'm having to get my neck fused next week." So like, I literally, you just never know. When you get on a healing journey, I didn't figure all this stuff out right away. It was like one massage, and it was it's like a step.
Yeah.
When you get on your journey, other things will unfold in front of you that you didn't know you needed, or that you find a way to work in, but to somehow working in. I don't do everything perfectly all the time, but I do enough of it. Like, I'm 2 workouts behind on Beth's program. I didn't do it 2 days ago, but I've shown up enough. Like, I've done 80% of the showing up over my life. Do I miss workouts? Yes, I do. But I just keep going. You just start over and keep going.
Yes, literally.
Yeah.
That's the key to it. I think eventually, like, you just keep doing something and it eventually just becomes more easy to be in your life and to think about yourself, because I'm the worst with that. I'll just avoid. I'll be like, well, I don't have time for it. But it's like in those moments, you just need to sit down and take care of yourself, or you're just going to be paying for it later.
Yeah. I think the hardest thing is making time for ourselves, but we really have to. And like I was saying before we push record, I have like zero guilt spending money on my body or getting massages or whatever. Just zero guilt. It's not a luxury. It's a necessity. Self-care is a necessity and not a luxury. And so
I love it. I like all the stuff that you do too, because it's not, because another thing with like scoliosis, it's just like sometimes wellness can look like, oh, you're just fixed, but like what we are talking about, how you express it, it's just like you're not, like I feel like they, like how you said in the beginning with like the doctor, like they're fixing, let's fix her up. But at the end of the day, like, we're not things to be broken. We just need to find toolkits and be consistent. And even if we're not, just get back on it and take the time to care for yourself, because it's so important. So it's just nice to see people like yourself who, like, are in the groove of it, because it's important.
One of the things that on my little journey that I go on was I went to visit my boss from DC who's now in her 80s and living in Boise, Idaho. So I had some sessions with Jen, and I went to get a float, and I saw this, like, people also search for, oh, okay, what is this? So I had this, because I'm curious, I want to try everything, So I went to this energy healer, and that's what my new thing is, energy healing now. This is also part of our system.
Love that, yes.
Chakras
are my jam.
Yeah, we're not just a body. We are all of this, right?
Yes.
So I went to this woman and I did this pranic healing session. Now I don't know and I just said, okay, I'm just want to see what this is about. Oh, I do have this like fused spine. So if anything you can share with me about that would be great. So she goes, okay, well, the message I'm getting is that you need to make friends with your rod. I'm like, and thank it for giving you the stability that you needed. Ask it what it wants. I'm like, okay, well, it wants to go back to the hot springs. I know it wants to go back to the hot springs. So that was the first thing. And then the second thing I got was vibration. That's why I'm getting more into sound healing.
Yes.
Because maybe the rod wants vibrate. My rod wants vibration.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. I would have to get a physicist maybe, or a metallurgist and a physicist to explain it. But that's immediately the thought that popped into my head. So I've been doing that. I've with the warm mineral springs. We need minerals in our body, and I just I don't really know how to play my gong very well, but sometimes I'll just go and it's almost like I don't hear any sound therapist hear me say this, but I'll just beat on it and just let the vibes hit me. And then when I went to a memorial service for one of my musician friends recently, and it was a metal thing, and I felt the vibe as soon as the band started playing. I just felt these vibrations. And I'm like, yeah, my whole body just went electric, just went like boom. And I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to go see heavy metal anymore, but I need to feel the vibrations. Apparently my body likes it. So
yeah, it's interesting.
I'll just go with like earplugs and, head.
Yeah.
I'm not there to listen, I'm there to absorb the vibes.
Absorb the energy.
Definitely with John Anderson, the Band Geeks, there's going to be a lot of vibration.
Yes, you're going to have a great time. Your spine's going to be like, yeah.
That's like part of my music has always been part of my healing. So
yeah. I love that.
But
you're
badass.
I like it.
Thank you.
Love it,
I just think, and now I'm trying to unpack like the mental load, because I knew, we have had so much, we have pushed down so much in our life. I'm still unpacking stuff. I'm still figuring things out.
Well, I definitely think writing will help then, because that's something I've been thinking of too. Like when we push and push and push, and it's like, yes, we're doing things physically, but like I think like writing, it would be a good outlet for you, especially if you push things down and kind of just, if you think about it, that's really how our surgery and scoliosis is given to us. It's just like, no big deal. This is nonchalant. Just keep going. You'll be fine. And then you kind of get that pattern and you do it with everything. You start doing it with healthcare, self-care.
Yeah.
And it's a cycle to break.
One thing I wanted to mention really quick, and this is always an afterthought, is my left femur was totally shattered when I was 46 years old. Totally shattered in a tree trimming accident with my husband. I was holding the ladder and he was up on the ladder trying to take down a branch, and the branch came off the wrong way. And my husband had been a football player, and he says all I was thinking about was not letting go of the chainsaw. So he came down, he landed on top of like right underneath my greater trochanter, and I knew that my leg was broken right away. So I've also had a devastating leg break that left me unable to walk. I was in a wheelchair. So that happened in October, and it took me until I went back to work in November in a wheelchair, but I didn't walk again until March. So it took me 6 months to walk again. And I was in rehab for like 21 days, and then I was home.
How did you cope with that?
Well, I knew that it could be fixed. And so I did, but what I was going to say is that I was always like filling out a mental health questionnaire. Like every few days, it's like, do you have thoughts of self-harm?
Yeah.
And I was filling these questionnaires out all the time. I thought, I don't ever remember filling out a questionnaire about my mental health when I was having this surgery.
I really wish they did that. It's something I talk about a lot.
Well, now we know that we need to do it for ourselves.
Yeah.
Like this is something that And I almost like, okay, so when I recount my experience, what I wish was different, I'm going to put that into like,
Yeah.
what do I wish was different? And, I really think that somatics right after we recover would be a really good thing to do because it's so gentle. You're not going to risk hurting yourself. You're
Yep.
just making slight
You're
movements.
feeling your body. Like, even if, like, I know that was, like, like, I don't know how, somatics has been around for a while, but, like, after your surgery, like, in your body cast, like, somatics, we know, like, seeing
That
how
would have
you're
been
feeling, things coming up, and just, like,
Mhm.
dealing with them in the moment instead of years down the road, because
Yeah.
then we have to now go to be like, okay, did I feel that way? Oh, that makes sense. You're kind of putting puzzles together while, like, kind of healing. So it's a journey, man.
It's a whole lifelong journey
It's a
that
whole
involves
lifelong
every
journey.
organ system, our mental health, our everything.
Yeah. And
And it's so much easier now that we have other people
yes,
on the journey with us.
yes, it is. It feels so nice to be able to talk about it with someone who, like, understands instead of just, I feel like sometimes you just feel like a kettle, like a teapot, just like steaming, and you're just like shaking with nowhere to go because who else could understand? But now we have like a whole community of people who understand and have so many similarities and differences, but it's the best thing ever. Like, I just get so excited talking about the community that we've found.
Yeah, it has renewed
amazing.
it's renewed my faith in social media because I also think social media is going to be the tool of our destruction, but so this is one good thing that has come out because we never would have met. I did meet one person in Tucson with a spinal fusion who actually was a healthcare practitioner and helped me. She was like a mentor to me, but no, otherwise it would be very hard to meet someone in the wild with a spinal fusion.
It would. I actually just met my first person with a spinal fusion, and it's because it's a medical dispensary.
Okay.
They work there. And, like, I was talking to someone else about my spinal fusion, and then they were like, oh, my goodness, the person who works here has a spinal fusion. And I was like, no way, I've never met anyone in person before. And I finally met them, and it's so funny because they were like, did you see Bionicon? I really want to go, but I don't think I can go this year. And then we started talking about that. So it's cool. We're out there.
Cool. We are. Yeah.
It's definitely...
I predict Bionicon's going to get bigger next year,
Hell
too.
yeah. Mara's going to build, like, I told her, I'm like, this is the beginning of, like, your Scoli empire. Like, you're making history, It's cool.
And okay, so I remember this came up from a comment that I saw you commenting about Frida Kahlo. So this little group trip is starting. This has some traction.
We need to do this.
Traction because I don't want to go on a group trip with anybody except other people's fusions because they're not understanding.
We can all sit down at the same time.
Wouldn't that be so awesome to go to Frida's to Casa Azul?
I want to go so bad.
Together.
I'm obsessed with her. I didn't know. I'd like that the first time we talked about it, right? Because Allie from Seated Perspectives, is that she went there?
Okay.
And yeah, she said she went to the house, and it was just like, because I remember when I saw, I think it's called the Broken Painting, or the Broken Column, and it's her painting with like the metal rod and like the nails in her body to like showcase the chronic pain. We have to make this happen. I would love to do that.
Yeah, I am going on a exhibit. There's going to be a Frida exhibit at the Tate Modern when I'm going to be in London, so I'm going to go. So I'm like, okay, doing it.
Send me pictures, Meg.
I will, but yeah. So I just feel like now that we just have so many more resources now than I had growing up. But and like I told people at Ionicon, if I can get this far in my life with like zero resources,
like you did this all on your own.
And I don't want people to be afraid of getting older.
Well,
don't be afraid of getting older.
You're helping me. I think it's just getting older with the fusion scares me. But I know it's because I know I need to move. I need to get my ass in groove. And that fear will maybe subside a bit.
If you take care of yourself, when you get to be older, you're building the person you're going to be now. You're building your 50-year-old Jack now, Yeah. But
my death anxiety too. like I hope I get there. I don't know why. Like, just something. But I feel like that's just a normal thing. Like, I don't know if you feel that way. Totally tell me if you don't. But I think that's just what comes along with grief and, like, unexpected things and stuff like that. It's just, like, creeping up. But then the way that you talk about, like how you just said, like you're building your future self. It just goes back to show, like in your head, yes, we have fears, but there's control. We have control over certain things, and we just need to focus on that.
We do. We can't control everything, and we never know when the many-faced God will come take us to black and white.
Yeah.
But it's going to happen eventually.
It is.
Yeah. So I'm kind of okay I have made my peace with things.
Yeah. I love that. It's, we have to. Because it's just another part. And I don't know. Scoliosis definitely has just a way of, I guess, making us feel, like that mortality. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. But for some reason, we were given, some people say that we chose this body in this journey.
Yes, that's true.
I don't know if I believe that, but I'm willing to consider that. And it's definitely a journey, And I like your name too, the Twisted Wanderer, because that is basically like the journey that we are on.
Yes, it's fun. Mm-hmm. That's how I came up with that name, because I was gonna go to Bali to volunteer and like help sea turtles, but then I had to get spinal fusion, so I canceled that trip. And I was like, I'm never gonna be able to create my dreams. So like this podcast and everything is just like me all like those 10 years ago. It's crazy.
Well, one thing that I have found out is I can still travel.
Exactly.
But my ability to endure discomfort
less.
So if you want to do something, like what is her Grace in England? She just went backpacking.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Good for her. She kicked ass.
She did kick ass.
I'm not gonna backpack. Like I could have done that when I was younger, but I'm not gonna do that now. I can't backpack now. So that is
something I want to do. I'm just like,
so I would
35 to 25 is very different.
Yeah. I would say if there's something you really want to do, go do it. Like we don't need to feel like we need to live our lives like the prescribed, like and then I was going to like retire at 65. No,
Yeah.
We need to do the things we want to do younger and not feel bad about it. If you get the opportunity to do it, just go and do it while you're younger. I mean, like you can still do it. It's just going to be more painful. It's going to require more effort. Yeah. So, yeah.
I hope planes are more comfortable.
I don't know if you saw that thing that I just posted in my stories, but it cracked me up because it goes, I got us tickets to Metallica. And it's like, they're standing tickets. And he's like, no, okay. And London was sold out, so we have to go to Edinburgh and be and that's a 6-hour train ride, and then the queue is 2 hours, and then so I could have done, and I did go to, I've done a lot of rock concerts because concerts were a lot cheaper back when I was younger. So I've done that. I couldn't do that right now. So,
Favorite concert? Now I'm just curious.
Well, John Anderson, the Band Geeks, just the one I saw last year. Chris Cornell on his Euphoria Morning tour was awesome. Okay. I saw Madonna on her Blonde Ambition tour in 1990. And I wasn't even a Madonna fan, but
that's still amazing, yeah.
The first concert I ever saw was Kiss. I wrote about that.
That's so cool.
Somebody tried to stage an intervention to keep me from going to Kiss, like that was going to happen. And I was in my when I saw Kiss.
You were in your cast?
I wore my cast to the Kiss concert. Yeah. So I would have to say Kiss, Madonna, and then Fish at Red Rocks was pretty awesome.
Fish, at Red Rocks. I want to go there so bad.
Red Rocks should be on everybody's bucket list.
Yeah, it's on my bucket list. That amphitheater is just like
so those
gorgeous.
Come to mind, but I've got like so many I've seen so many concerts.
I know. I'm like, Meg's like this badass rocker chick.
Eventually, I'll probably post my concert tickets because I'm going to try to scan them and then put them in a memory book or something.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, so.
Oh yeah, awesome. I could talk to you all day, Meg.
It's a lot harder. It's a lot like I could not do the 6-hour train ride to Edinburgh and stand in
No,
yeah. But 25, I could do that. So
it's wild. It's interesting to see how your body ages, and it's definitely a privilege. I'm grateful.
It is. It is.
Yeah,
but not everybody gets.
Very true.
Mm-hmm.
Well, did we touch on everything you wanted to talk about? Do you
I
have
think
any
so.
questions or
Yeah.
anything? I just wanted to learn all about you. I feel like
No, I'm just trying to figure out all this aging stuff as I go along. I mean, I guess like it's going to be harder for me to like other older people balance. I'm trying to work on balance more. It's because I don't want to fall. That
balance is
kind of
a
thing.
hard one.
So
Yeah, because we're
how I'm
like
gonna
built to
manage to
fall.
yeah, I am kind of like decluttering my house and letting go of some things that I don't want to do anymore, like decorate a lot and throw parties and tote bins back and forth and stuff like that. I've let go of that.
Well, that's nice. Like you
Yeah,
mean
and like
like the kind of like have like the year like what am I trying to say? Like how the seasons kind of change and like you mean like
yes,
that type of decor so you don't have to
yeah,
like put things away and put them back?
yes, putting them away, putting them back, stuff like
Yeah.
that. I just recently redecorated my little lake house with just it's not going to change. It's going to be green and just picked a color scheme and like okay, we're
That's
not doing anything.
relaxing though. Yeah. That's
It is
like
relaxing.
I have a tip. I don't know.
Okay.
But in August, because I love Halloween, that's when I decorate for Halloween. And then I just do the Nightmare Before Christmas, Meg, because
Okay.
then it's already good. That's
Cool.
my decorating trick.
Yeah, I love that. And
So
I'm a
then
Halloween
you
girl
could just
too.
so you could just do the Nightmare Before Christmas
Okay.
because it goes for every holiday.
I like that. If I was going to decorate, I used to have 13 Halloween bins because I threw a Halloween party every year.
And it's just like Meg's probably like the best party thrower because all your Game of Thrones stuff themes that you did, I was just like, this looks like so much fun.
I loved Halloween. I love to dress up. So, yeah.
I haven't dressed up in so long. I literally have my little mug here, my jack-o'-lantern.
I love it. I think I've touched on everything.
Awesome. Right. Well, I think I feel like we touched on it though, but I feel like it would be a good closing question.
Okay.
It's just, what's something that surprised you aging with your fusion?
Aging with my fusion. Something that surprised me?
Yeah.
Like a good surprise or a bad surprise?
Either or, for anyone listening, it could be either or. Or both.
Okay, well, I didn't really, it wasn't a surprise because but being invisible, it happens to us. Even young, attractive females are invisible when we get older, but it's actually, I kind of love it. I wouldn't be able to, like I was telling them at Bionicon, I was walking around Rome and nobody's coming up to me. Nobody's trying to hit on me. I'm just kind of, and if they are, they want money. Like, why are you approaching me? Probably because you're going to try to separate me from my financial resources, right? But it's really, I love being invisible though, because, nobody's bothers me. I don't have to worry about dudes coming up to me and hitting on me.
That does sound like wonderful.
Yeah, and I don't miss the mail. I don't miss that, I don't miss it. So it is like you just like I said at Bionicon, usually I didn't even have to go to Hogwarts and get an invisibility cloak. You just get one after you turn 50, But it's actually a gift. It's kind of nice to move through the world unbothered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like just a different journey.
Yeah, and when I dress, I try not to wear anything real eye-catching because I don't want to catch anybody's eye. I just want to come and go and be left alone, And so it does happen, and it's not something to fear. It's something. I mean, like I said at Bionicon, I realized like hell, I could shoplift if I wanted. Like nobody's paying any attention to what I'm doing. I know they have theft for cameras everywhere, but like it's kind of cool. Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, and we're taught to be in fear our whole lives, and I used to. Oh, be careful. Your scoliosis, you're afraid. Get diagnosed, you're afraid. Be careful. Don't do anything. And then when you get older, like osteoporosis, you're gonna fall. You know what? You're gonna fall and die. You know what? I'm not gonna live in fear.
I like that. That's a good way to end because I don't want to live in fear either, and
yeah,
I think that's beautiful. I love that.
Thank
Yay.
you.
All right. Well, to my beautiful people listening, this has been Episode with Meg. You can find her on Instagram, Gen X Final Fusion. But until then, you beautiful people, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much, Jack. It was a pleasure talking to you.
You too, Meg.